How's it going? So, super quick video about callback function. It's a very legacy type of way of doing things, but I came across it in a couple times in a project, so I just want to make a quick video on this. Okay, so the way callback functions work, I'm gonna confuse you, but I'll explain, okay? Look, you have a main function that takes 3 arguments. One of the arguments is actually a function as well. Okay, so what happens is just forget about everything. What happens is you call this function inside of this function with an argument. Okay, so what happens is then it will execute this, whatever is in here, and create a result. And then you can use this result with other arguments. For obvious reasons, why so confusing? Why not just do these calculations externally? I get your point. That's why they have died in the evolution process, because not a lot of people use them anymore. But if you're working with legacy code, unfortunately you have to understand how to do them, right? So, okay, let's explain. Start from the beginning. So the first, probably is the easiest, is to create a callback function first. So function, let's call it callback. It's going to take a single argument, and then it's going to return that argument, right? I'm just trying to make it simplistic. I'm gonna make it more complicated, okay? Now we create a main function. Main, I'll call it main fn. So it's gonna take 2 arguments, arg1, arg2. Well, let's just do with 1 argument. 1 argument, right? And then second argument is going to be the callback function. Alright? Okay. So now we're gonna let callback function result be equal to whatever we want this result to be. Since it's a very linear function, we're just gonna put it callback, and we'll push an argument with 3 into it. Well, let's just do 2. Okay, and then we're going to return. So yeah, we're just gonna return them. Let me just, I know there's a lot of beginners, so okay, let final result is going to be whatever we got here plus this argument here. Okay, so then finally we're going to main function, argument 1 we're gonna go as 1. Oh, I'm gonna confuse you. Well, let's just go with 1. Well, let's do 2 plus 2. Okay, so 2, and then for this callback function we are going to call this function with an argument of oh shit, yeah, callback, my apologies, because it's being called in here. My apologies. So we're passing this function. So imagine that this and this are the same thing, and then it's being called inside the main function. Does that make sense? Probably doesn't, but so, and then we're gonna console log final result, and you'll see there's gonna be 4. Alright, so think about it. Let's just slow down and think about it, okay? We are calling the main function with an argument 2. So this here is 2. Now second argument is this function here. So to extract the value from this argument, we have to call it somehow, right? And we're calling it in here. So we're calling it, this gets executed, and then boom, you get a result. So what is that result? Let me just put console log real quick. Function result. I made a mistake in here. So callback function result is 2, because we're passing 2, this gets executed, and then you get your result, right? Then what do? We create a variable, we take the 2 that's coming from here, and then we add it to our argument, which is coming from here, and then we get final result. That's it. I know it's very, very confusing, but sometimes you have to remember that this function could be some kind of an API. Honestly, in the new JavaScript, nobody does it this way. It's because it's kind of like switch statements. They're there, but like it's just reading them. Reading them is a problem, right? I know they're efficient, but like reading is a problem. So just be aware that you can do this stuff, okay? So now we're gonna make it a bit more complicated right now. To shorten it down, people use arrow functions in here. Okay, so as opposed to creating a external function, what people do sometimes is they do like this. Arg, and then return arg. So it's a nameless function that is being passed as an argument. So now you can think of your callback function as this. So you are passing your argument in here, it gets executed, and then you get your result. You see, nothing has changed because it's in here. I know it's a disgraceful syntax, but legacy code. Welcome to legacy code. Yeah? So just be aware that shit like that can happen. So let's do a more complex function. Let's do it again. So let's create a function, main function. Let's do arg1, arg2, then callback function, okay? Now, let callback function result equals to, we're gonna go with callback, and we're gonna pass arg1 and arg2 into it. And then let final result equals whatever we got from here plus 5. Okay? So now let's call this, and then let's console log this bad boy. Final result. Whoops. Okay. So main function equals, let's do 1. Well, let's do 4. So the final result is 9, right? So let's do 2. 2, 2. And then function here is going to be, we need to call this argument something, right? So let's go callback argument 1, and then callback argument 2 equals, and then we're gonna do callback argument 1 plus callback argument 2. So total is gonna be 9. So this is normally how people do it. Because this could be like some kind of an API call that you are waiting on a promise to result. Once that promise is resolved, you then feed it into the callback function, right? Or something like that. In here, like I'm saying that there could be like a promise in here. So once this promise is delivered, you then call the callback function once the promise is resolved, and then you are doing your final results. Okay? Now, in here, if you're confused by this, it's the same as doing function my callback function. And then we do callback argument 1. Well, let's call it anything we want. Just, I don't know. Value 1, value 2. And then return value 1 plus value 2. And then we just take this and we pass it in here. So you see this callback function, this part here is basically this part here. So you're triggering with argument 1, which is coming from here, argument 2, which is coming from here. So effectively, these two values are like 2 and 2 coming from here, and then you are just getting the result, which is 4, right? So let's console log it. Function result. So, you see? And then we're just adding 5 to whatever comes out of here. So just be aware of stuff like that. People do it still. Well, not still, but I mean legacy code, they do it, okay? Take care, bye-bye.